We're gonna wait for that notification to go on out. And I need to make sure, y'all, that I plug up my phone because I do not want my live to die on me like it did the last time. So I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes to come on. And I gotta timestamp this, y'all, because I cannot. Hey, Taj, my love. Beautiful evening to you. Taj, you're gonna need your notebook today. Ooh. Okay. You're gonna need your notebook. Ooh, hold on. Got y'all spinning all around. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Here we go. You're gonna need your notebook. Hold on. All right. How are we going to do this? Because I do not want you to weigh my phone down and it drops. Okay. There we go. Are we good? I think we're good. I think we are good. Okay. Get that out of the way. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so let me get the chat set up. Now I'm feeling like I got a heat flash coming on in. Oh, alrighty. So let's go on over here and see what we got. How was your day, Taj? Yes, I know. Oh, you're gonna need that too, Taj. I probably should have got my tweets before I got on the live, but I have a very informative channeled message for you guys today, and it is definitely notebook worthy. So you're gonna need your notebook while you are definitely over there with the ancestors and the herbs. Okay. Blessing the messages is coming through. Okay. So you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna need that notebook, my love. Okay. I am about to confirm some things as well. Ooh, wait a minute. I'm about to confirm some things as well as it was clean. Okay. Oh, okay. It turned out to be super chill. Okay, let me find out you're already walking in resonance of how you want things to unfold. All right, let's do this. I needed to look up something because in my notes I wrote down that I needed to speak about the Aquarian. I needed to speak to you guys about the Aquarian archetype as well as the I needed to speak to you about Pluto in Aquarius. So give me 1 second. I need to go grab something. Okay. So, what time is it? Hey, I'm live. That's okay. Okay, there you go. Okay. All right, bye. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, Taj. Taj, this may be something where you may have to circle back if necessary, because it's gonna be a lot of connecting the dots and pattern recognitions that I'm going to be talking about. Okay. but I forgot to write this down in my notes, and this is important. So just give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, all right. And I need to do one more thing. I need to see where the moon is. I need to see where the moon is. Okay, perfect. You know what, Taj, too? Hold on. We need to go ahead and give you the we need to go ahead and give you the 2 bar. Here we go. Okay. Okay, Todd, you are now moderator. Let me know if you have moderator capabilities, because I haven't, been on here doing this for only like 12, 13 days now. So some of this stuff I have to get back in remembrance, okay? All right, so Taj now has the wand, okay? Hold on 1 second, y'all. Hey, sweetie. Okay, baby. All right, I love you. Let me know when you're on your way back home. Okay, baby. Bye-bye. Okay, sorry, y'all. That was my son. Okay, so here we go. All right, everybody. I hope y'all had a wonderful day. Okay, so y'all go ahead. Pump me in your ear. Put the phone down. Start making dinner. Start getting yourself together. Let's unwind. I have a lot of information for you, okay? Let's unwind, okay? So I gotta give Kim and Miss T the wand too, okay? So when I see them jump on, they get the wand also. So get your wine, get comfortable, okay? We finna get into some things tonight, and I'm going to be explaining some things to you, and some things are gonna start to connect, okay? And hopefully the goal here is for you to be able to get not just some information, but some inspiration, some confirmation, and some motivation, okay? Now, before I begin, I do need to give my disclaimer, okay? This is not going to be so much of a tarot read tonight per se. I'm going to post some cards because I do need to speak about Pacific energy signatures, what that means to you, and how you're going to be able to navigate this energy, and how your gifts are coming online, how some of the things that are happening right now, you are not crazy. You're just becoming more attuned to the resonance that's in the atmosphere, okay, that you're going to be moving in now, okay? Bottom of the deck, it says you are given too many fucks, give 0 fucks. That's the bottom of the deck, and this is the energy that we're starting off with, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, that energy is going to be falling under the Scorpion energy, because I'm going to kick it off talking about first, before we jump into the Sybils, I am going to be talking about the Pluto and Aquarius transit for the next 20 years, why that's important, and why that is playing out right now. Okay, how it's showing up in the cosmos. Okay, you have solar flares. You also have 3-eye Atlas and 6A lemon. Okay, we're gonna talk about those 2 comments today and why they're important. Okay, all right. So that energy, okay, you need to give 0 fucks is showing up on the Scorpio. Okay, now. I'm going to give you some archetypal information here too, because it's about you identifying the patterns, how the energy moves, and how to man your square, okay? So, square meaning, like if we're talking astrology, the square is obstacles, okay? Now, the point of an obstacle, the obstacle is just the flip side of an opportunity, okay? So you need to capture that. Let me give that to you again. Obstacles are the opposite side of the coins of opportunity. Okay, obstacles are the opposite side of the coin of opportunity. which means that if you see an obstacle, that means an opportunity is right around the corner, okay? If you see an opportunity, that means that the obstacle could be also right around the corner. It really just depends on your perspective and your perspective, and how you're viewing this. I'm gonna slow down because I have a lot more understanding of why the energy's speeding up and why I need to, okay? Okay, so the energy just popping up for Aquarius is stop talking, shut your mouth and listen. Okay? I can't make this up. So we finna go with what they want me to tell y'all tonight. Okay, stop talking. It's saying here, shut your mouth and listen. All right? All right, so let me build the stage for y'all of how we're gonna break this down, okay? I'm gonna state my intention here before I begin with this channel message as well as this explanation to help you to navigate and understand the energy that we're moving through, okay? My allergies, y'all, is we getting through this stuff. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to give my disclaimer, all right? My intention when I show up, okay, is to come and show up in truth, in light, in coherence, in clarity, in honesty, in love, all right? Now, I am also going to state that you learn precept upon precept. So there's a building foundation of things, and what may have been truthful 5 years ago, when your knowledge has expanded, that truth can merge into a higher level of truth or inner knowing. Okay, so I want to set that foundation. All right. I am also going to make sure anything brought to my attention, whether it's through my spiritual guides or whether it's through our dialogue or interaction with one another, if any information needs to be changed, updated, or expounded upon, I will do my best to honor that part, okay? Now, I also want to say this, all right? These videos are not for everyone. If you're not going to do your work, then you just need to go on and you just need to get over what I'm saying, because you're not going to get it. Just click on. You have my permission to click off the video now, okay? Because these messages are not for everyone, all right? When I first started, I used to try to dress it up in a bow and understand I am clear now that these videos are not for everyone. They're going to require you. Hey, Miss T, you get the wand also. I'm making you a moderator. They're going to require you to do the work, okay? So you need to know that, all right? It's going to require you, these videos are going to require you to do the work, whether it's spiritual work, emotional work, physical work, okay? Mental work, it don't matter, okay? You're going to be required to do the work, okay? The next thing, access is going to be granted to you based on your inner belief system and your inner knowing, okay? You can only get access based on the level that you are expanded upon. So if you are just a Bible toter, then, okay, they're telling me that is judgmental. I need to reframe that, okay? If you are a Christian, okay, and you think that your structure of foundation in which truth comes through is the only foundation in which truth flows, then you cannot have access to the wisdom that flows through Buddhism, maybe in a different they're telling me to tell you octave, dimension, level, okay? So which means that you're not going to get past the physical Jesus, all right? So if you're just stuck in your constructs of a belief system where you can't expand past that, you're not going to have access to other realms. You're not going to have access to other truth within that structure or belief system, or AKA inner knowing that you have, all right? And that is important in this era. Okay. All right. Next is energy is fluid. So I can say that this is your energy, but it feels more like the energy that you're interacting with. If you want to go ahead and apply the energy archetype or pattern where it best fits. Okay. Right. Now, last but not least, I am not your guru. Okay. I am human figuring this shit out just like you. Okay. Now, I have been here many cycles, and I now remember who I am, and I now remember my lineage, and I now have no longer running from my gifts, and I'm now in a place where I'm no longer trying to tune into the frequency of my gift. I'm not embodying my gift, okay? So I'm now operating in resonance, okay? So with that being said, you are now here to show up in your own resonance, also your own universal tone, your own universal code, whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like, it's your job to figure that shit out, not mine. I'm a guide to help you along this journey, but I'm not your guru, okay? Which means you're gonna be responsible for doing some of the research. I might give you some bullet points and I might give you some outlines, but you are responsible for doing your own research, and you're responsible for validating or not. You're responsible for confirming or not. I am not responsible for doing that for you, okay? And let me just say this: truth needs no external validation, but it is going to produce external verification, okay? So with that being said, got all of that out of the way, all right? I also want to say something from the 21st, even today I've been feeling like I need a nap, but my schedule have not allowed me the time to get a nap. So I want you guys to know there's heavy solar flare energies coming through the atmosphere right now. The sun is doing a lot of solar flares, and it's hitting 3i Atlas and A6 lemon directly now, okay? And the reason why I wrote down the comment A6 lemon, okay, is because that is going to be connected to the Sybil's and the Quasi era, and why that is important for you, okay, to know this, all right? So I got that out of the way. So if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling sleepy, if you feel like you need a nap, if you're feeling, like like the day just feel very electric in nature, which means that everything is just sped up, right? People are a little bit more irritated. Just know that that's also happening because of the solar flares. Everything is connected, okay? So you have the moon interfering with the sun interference, and then you got your emotional interference, and then your mental interference, and then you want to know why sometimes people walking around like they just want to punch people in the face, right? Or you want to know why people are walking around sometimes and they're just irritable, why they just depressed, okay? Why they're just full of anxiety. A lot of times people are not understanding that you are literally living in a flow of energetic currents coming from multiple directions at multiple times, hitting your energetic Taurus field, okay? And if you do not know what a Taurus field like, or you do not know what your bioelectrical field looks like, go ahead and Google that and see how that energy field kind of, you can kind of say it stems from the heart chakra, and it's like a sphere that wraps around you energetically, okay? So, all right, so I talked about the solar flares and how it's hitting 3i Atlas, okay? And I don't know, like from what I'm picking up energetically, right? 3i Atlas is representing masculine energy, is what I'm being told, and A6 lemon is representing feminine energy, is what I'm being told, okay? And the reason why I'm mentioning A6 lemon is because I'm being told that that's called the blue comet, based on what we got going on right now, okay? So let me get into the Sybil's and what you need to know. I have notes, y'all, because I don't want to go all over the place. Now, the Sybil's, first of all, is going to be important in the Quasi era because of a few things, right? So let me start building on the foundation first so you can have an accurate understanding of how this applies to you in the Quasi era, okay? First of all, you need to know that the Quasi era is an era where we are all going to be operating more in resonance and not so much the physical world, okay? So things are not going to be so physical. It's going to be more resonance based, okay? So more subtle, more spiritual, more in tune with yourself, with nature, with others, okay? You're gonna see that people are becoming more compassionate. Love is going to begin to rise again. Now, I will say this: we are going to go through a transition period between now leading up to what we can deem to be 2030, okay? But really and truly, okay, I'm using two timelines when I'm working this information, right? I'm using the Gregorian calendar system timeline, which is 2025, right? So I'm doing the 5-year increments from 2025 on the Gregorian calendar system. And from 2025 to 2030, okay, those are very important years, okay, very important things that happen energetically, not just in the heavens and with the comments and with the sun, but also in your heavens, your internal heaven, okay. So your 12 chakras are now energetically open to be active and come in line. And I have to watch how I say. I don't want to see it say your 12 chakras are online, because for some people the 12 chakras are not online. Shit. For some people, their 7 chakras are not even online. They don't even have 1 chakra online. Okay, so I don't want to say that your 12 chakras are now online, because no, the gate is now open for all 12 of your chakras, okay, to come online, aka your 12 disciples, aka the 12 zodiac signs that dwell within you, aka your 12 dimensional bodies that takes you to your higher self or your oversoul, like however you want to call it. We can go through all of what 12 represents, okay? So your 12 strand DNA, which is really what you're going to be activating, okay? So just know, when I speak of 12, especially when I speak of the Council of 12, okay, because a lot of my channel messages when it comes to anything to do with what we're operating now, I have a few guides, right? And this information that I'm bringing forth right now is coming through the channel of the Council of 12. Now, you do need to keep in mind, as above, so below, okay? So the Council of 12 is also connected not just to your 12-strand DNA or the Council of 12s or the Galactic 12 or however you want to call them. There are also 12 chakras within your body, okay? So as above, so below. Wherever you're going to find a connection of 12, that is also going to be connected to the Council of 12, the higher Council of 12 or the higher Galactic Council of 12, okay? Keep in mind that it's all energetic base, which means that some of these frequencies or some of these beings, these light beings or these energetic beings that may not be, that may be non-physical or physical in nature, just in a different dimension or different nexus point along the grid. And we're going to get into the grid in a second too, right? You will find that you're not connecting to them based on the physical. You're connecting based on resonance, okay? Or frequency, all right? So it's not, some of it, for some people, it is going to be based on what you're tuned into, right? But for those of you that are called to work on the grids and helping to fix the grid, you're going to have to resonate. It's not so much about you tuning into a frequency. Resonance is needed, okay? So you can, so a big part of this is if you're an empath, you need to move in resonance, period. Period. Okay? Period. Okay? I'm just letting you know. If you are an empath, resonance is the order of the day, because you're going to be helping people to bridge the gap between frequency and resonance. Okay? You're going to be able to bridge that gap. So, all right? So write a note, because I'm not going to go through frequency and resonance tonight. I've already did that in a past video, but if you need me to expound more on that, I can, okay? I can. And I don't remember what the title of that video was, but I'm sure I did a video about frequency and resonance already. I'm sure I did. Okay. If I did not, drop a comment and let me know, because you need to understand the difference between frequency and resonance. Okay. All right. So if you're an empath, you need to be operating from a space of resonance. Okay. So when you're resonating on something, you are that thing. You're not trying to tap into it. You're not trying to tune into it. You're not trying to find it. No, you are that thing. Okay. So you need to know that. All right. So another thing that you're going to have to be aware, before I start to break down the Sybils and their current resonance, you're going to have to be aware of the empath and the saver complex dynamic. Okay? So, my empaths, what we may call light workers, what we may call grid workers, okay? Crystalline grid workers, what we may call those of you walking around, being able to activate people, right? Light activators, what you may call shamans that are dealing in the herbal shamans that are ministering plant medicine to guide people in to do spiritual work, right? This is no longer an era where you got to operate on resonance, okay? Because the energy has shifted. It's happening in the heavens with the sun and the comets that are now in orbit, okay? So you gotta resonate, okay? Empath and the savior complex is very important for anyone here to help people, okay? This is something you got to mature past. This is something that you have to understand your patterns and your loops in. This is an area where you have to understand your insecurities, your fears. Okay, this is an area where you need to build your confidence and you need to be able to stand in your truth. This is your area where you become more coherent, being able to hear your spiritual team, then you're hearing the news that you're seeing with these two natural eyes, okay? You need to be able to hear your spiritual team just as strongly, if not more strong, than you turning on the news or maybe flicking through your YouTube and scrolling, okay? Their voices, their energy, their signatures need to become more clearer to you and fine-tuned than the news, all right? I was closing my windows earlier, and as I'm closing the windows, I can tell that one of my guys stepped in the room with me. I was just about to get on the live because I felt the heat resonance. I felt as I'm closing the blinds, I felt the heat and the energy come right next to me and stand on the right side of me while I was standing in the blinds. And I know because I know that this is also a guided message tonight, so I wasn't surprised, okay? So empaths, you need to understand the empath and the savior complex, because that means once you learn what that complex is, you can catch yourself looping where you're not the people pleaser, where you're not trying to save nobody because you can't. Okay, well, you understand that you don't have to give your energy to people where you are their source of energy, okay? Where you don't have to be in toxic situations or toxic relationships, okay, longer than you need to, where you can pick it up before even getting into a relationship with somebody that's toxic, where you don't have to continue the empath and the narcissist dynamic, okay? Where you're able to not just own your energy, but you're able to then disperse your energy and set boundaries where you need to. That is going to be important in this season. You need to understand the empath and the savior complex, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's not really about saving anybody else. It's about saving yourself and then giving the space and standing in the truth for other people to do the same, okay? Within love, all right? So just be mindful of that. Okay, I got that off. You need to know that, right? That is not what this video is about tonight, so I don't want to get into it and get sidetracked, okay? Because I got a lot of notes here. Now, if you want me to do a video on the empaths and the savior complex, drop a note and I will do that for the quasi era. Now, keep in mind, my videos moving forward is going to be based on the energy in this quasi era and the channel messages that's coming in from my guys, okay? And once again, truth does not need external validation because it is going to produce external verification. Okay, so you need to know that. All right. Okay. Now, let me also say this. Okay, because I have it noted here. The Pluto and Aquarius position is going to be important in this quasi era, okay? The Pluto and Aquarius transition is going to be important, okay? And let me just show you how we are mapping things out and paying attention to patterns, allegories, as well as loops here, okay? This is going to be important. Remember, I told you that you're always going to be moving throughout the 4 elements, all right? This era is based on numbers, okay? Everything in this era, the quasi era, is going to be controlled via quantum, whether it's quantum physics, quantum mechanics, or being able to work your quantum light body, okay? Let me repeat that again, whether it's quantum physics, quantum mechanics, your quantum biofield, or you being able to work your quantum energy in this season. All right. Now, keep in mind, 5D was not here to try to kill you. If you want to say 5D was trying to do something, it's try to block you from you elevating to your 12D, okay? To your 12D, aka, which is really your higher self, or if you want to call it your overload, if you want to call it Christ energy or Christos energy. There's many different names for the same energy, okay? And you're going to find that out as we're moving throughout this energy, okay? Now, Scorpio is going to be important because Scorpio within this transit, and keep in mind, Pluto is moving in Aquarius, I believe, for the next 20 years, or 19 now. All right, give or take 20 to 19 years. All right. And within Pluto and Aquarius, you need to know that we're now activating unity consciousness in this energy, okay? Now, Kamoy, what do you mean by unity consciousness, right? I've been explaining to you unity consciousness really first starts within you. That's unifying left brain, right body, left body, okay? So your right brain, your right side of your brain, which is feminine energy, right? And then kind of curves and it goes over to the left side of the body. So your right brain is responsible for feminine energy, creativity, right? Intuitiveness, right? Emotions, right? And then that energy then travels and operates on the left side of your body, okay? Left brain energy is masculine energy, your logic and your deductive reasoning skills. And that energy then transfers over to the right side of your body, okay? So when we talk about that Kundalini energy, how it curves in a switch, or when we talk about masculine, feminine energy, all right? So masculine, feminine energy just does not run down the brain, like the one side of the body, okay? So right brain, feminine, left brain, masculine, left side of the body, feminine, right side of the body, masculine, okay? You don't really need that for this particular conversation that we're having here, but you do need that for your notes, okay? Because that's going to play out in your nervous system, okay? We're going to, yeah, okay? Put a like in the video, please, y'all, if you can, all right? So Scorpio energy within this next 20-year cycle is going to be representing the negative aspect of the energy, or the negative polarity. Whenever we're dealing with the negative polarity of an energy, that's feminine energy, that's the wound, okay? Wound energy, right? Now, you also need to know that Aquarius's energy and Scorpio's energy are fixed energy, so they're not really flexible, okay? They're not flexible. So you need to know this energy that's coming in, this energy has a very clear and direct purpose and focus. It's clear about what needs to be done. It is not flexible in its mission, okay? It's not flexible in its mission, so you need to know that. Scorpio represents the feminine aspect of this energy. Aquarius represents the masculine aspect of this energy, okay? Aquarius's energy is the polarity of Aquarius's energy. It is positive in nature. Whenever you're dealing with a positive charge, positive polarity, that is a masculine aspect. That's electrical, okay? Whenever you're dealing with feminine energy, all right, or negative energy, that's also correlates with feminine energy. That energy is magnetic, and you need to know that, right? Electric is the energy, your thoughts, what you send out, okay? All right? Electric, thoughts, masculine, all right? Electric, thoughts, masculine, positive charge. Let me say that again. You need to know these because then you're able to jump from system to system. Even if they're talking about basic electricity, you can find spirituality in that shit. Okay? Even if they're talking about basic electricity, you can find spirituality in that shit. You can find where you land in that shit because all of that is a correlation of you, okay? The computers that we have, the tablets that we have, AI, all of that shit is a mirror and a duplicate of you, all right? So all of these phrases that I'm giving you, you can take them from one system and apply them to another system because they're universal, all right? All right, so let me rewind again. I need you to get this. I'm going to repeat this again, okay? Scorpio is going to represent the womb energy, the feminine energy for the next 19 to 20 years. It is fixed energy. It is very direct about what it's here to do, okay? Because Pluto is showing up to transform this shit, which means AKA transform you, which means wake up the guru in you, which means to wake up the latent DNA, which means to bring you into alignment, okay? It is no more finding peace. It's now about your wholeness. You've been collecting pieces of yourself for years. It is now time for you to take those pieces and create a whole beautiful mosaic masterpiece. Okay, so you need to know Scorpio is representing the change that's going to be happening for the next 20 years. Aquarius is going to bring in the uniqueness and the visuality aspect of the change. Aquarius is going to require that you be uniquely, individually who you are so you can be the best to the collective. Let me say that again. Aquarius is going to require you to be the best of who you are on a unique basis so you can bring that back and help the group, okay? Yes. It represents the womb. And so let me just say this, okay? And so, you know, Taj is dropping notes in the chat. So I suggest that y'all grab the notes, okay? And Taj is a day one, so Taj notebook. I can't even begin. Taj got all my notes from since I dropped this channel. Okay, so I cannot even believe the wealth of information that she has. All right, so you are your own guru, and your guru is being developed within this transit. Okay, so you need to know that. Aquarius is going to represent your own individual uniqueness and what is good for the group. So Pluto's going to ask you to transform, okay? What are you building, right? What are you birthing, okay? The womb means creativity, intuition, right? You can also tap into your imagination there. There's so much beautiful things going on in this energy. It is not all fear. It is not all gloom and doom, okay? But there's some foundation things that you need to understand, all right? Now, the next thing that I need to let you know before I jump into the Sybils is this, okay? And I do not know why they're asking me to set it up this way. I'm just doing as I'm instructed to do, okay? The next thing I need to let you know about this too is, oh, that makes so much sense. Okay. I need to let you know that Scorpio has two ruling planets, okay? It has Mars and it has Pluto, all right? And the reason why I'm bringing Scorpio into this is because Pluto rules Scorpio, all right? So a lot of this energy that you're going to be seeing with Pluto in Aquarius, you're going to be seeing it expressed maybe even through Scorpio's energy, okay? Transformative energy happening through Scorpio's energy or Scorpio's archetype, all right? Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and it's ruled by Uranus, all right? Now, the big thing that you need to know is Saturn is the timekeeper. And Aquarius at this age and where it is saying, okay, but your time is wrong. You ain't been keeping time right, right? We understand that there's structure and order here, but there's been some lies told, right? And I'm here to correct those lies, okay? So Uranus is saying to Saturn, yeah, we know that there's law and order needed, but some of the shit that you've been keeping time on, that ain't been the truth, okay? Because some of your timekeeping skills been lies. Like, we've been lying. We've been lied to a lot. As a matter of fact, you've been holding back some information from us. Well, when the fuck was you going to give us this information? If you the timekeeper and you about justice and, I mean, law, instruction, order and shit, why you been keeping shit from us, okay? So that's the type of energy that Aquarius is on right now. Pluto's like, I need to grow past this shit. I need to, because clearly y'all been hiding some shit, and Aquarius is exposing, Uranus is coming in and breaking up and exposing, okay, that old timeline. Which means friends that you may used to feel comfortable with may no longer feel comfortable to you. Situations that you may used to be okay with may no longer feel okay with you. Walking into a room and pretending that you're small may no longer feel good to you. Okay, over explaining yourself may no longer fit you. Okay, not being okay with the fact that you like to talk about spirituality and you gotta hide who you are from certain family members or friends. That's not going to be okay for you anymore, okay? Hiding who you are in this energy is not going to be okay for you anymore, all right? You're about to give 0 fucks. You've been giving too much fucks. Now you're about to give 0 fucks, okay? That's what Scorpio is saying. Aquarius is saying, stop talking. We've been talking too much. We've been talking too much. It's time to do. Okay, it's time to do. All right, so now that I've said that, let's move on over into the meat and potatoes of why we are here. Okay, so first of all, I want to start by saying that this definitely was a channel message, and some of this information I did not know until I started to receive the transmissions through my downloads or uploads, or I really want to say just being still enough where I'm now tapping into different energetic fields and tapping into more of who I am, right? I'm beginning to resonate more in my truth, right? As I show up. If I can be honest with you, like me showing up here is part of me standing in my truth, okay? Me showing up here is part of me standing in my truth, okay? So with that being said, it took me a second, I want to say maybe 12, 13 days ago to realize that part of why my body was aching, okay? Part of why my body was aching was because I was not coming and speaking truth in the way that I was directed to, okay? And now that I'm back here with you guys, I'm finding that the energy is moving through my body a lot more coherently. I'm still uncomfortable at times because a lot of times the charge can come in, that energetic surge can come in so hard. Where I have to ground and balance myself. So now I've implemented literally sitting outside and grounding my feet in the dirt. Like today after I came in from grounding myself, and right now as I'm speaking to you, my ankles were tingling. And I was feeling these spikes of energy like flow through the ankles and the sole of my feet. And as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm like, that makes so much sense because literally Aquarius is responsible for your shins and your ankles. Right? So, yeah. But anyway, so grounding energy is going to be required a lot in this quasi era. Okay. So a lot of this information that I'm giving to you is information that I got through my channeling and my download. And then, you know, what I do is once I get a channel or download, I then say to my guys, well, now you got to verify and back up what you're saying. Right. Now I'm going to need you to show me. I need you to verify what I just heard. Okay. Because some type of confirmation, because I need to sit with this, and 2, if you're sending me to share this with people and to teach this to people, I first need to understand, right? I first need to understand how this information works. I need to be able to articulate it. It needs to be truthful and coherent within me, within my field, so I can then go back and explain to my community of grid workers, light workers, empaths, or whatever path you're on. Hey, here's the information I got. This is how I was told that we're supposed to use it. This is how I tried it. This is how it worked for me. Now you go do your work. And if this resonates with you, here are the tools, here are the steps. Now you can go off and you can try, and then come back and share the information that you need to make sure that we good, right? To make sure that everybody over here, you know, is getting the information and we are all leveling up together, right? Hey, Kim. How are you? That we're all leveling up together, okay? So, all right. I broke down the quasi era. I broke down why Pluto and Aquarius is important, right? Now we're going to go into the Sybil, okay? And then I'm going to end it. Please do not let me jump off of here without ending it with A6 Lemon, the comet, okay, that's now in our solar system, in our orbit, okay, our orbit, that's orbiting the earth and the sun, all right? That's going to be important. I need to end with that, okay? So please do not forget to remind me, because that's important. All right, so now we're on to the Sybil's, all right? Have any of you heard of the Sybil's before? Have anybody heard of the Sybil's? Let me know if you guys have heard of the Sybil's. Okay. All right. All right. Tosh said yes. All right. And Kim said no. Okay. So, all right. Good. So let me just go ahead and explain who the Sybil's are. Okay. And where you can see the Sybil's showing up in history. Okay. So first of all, the Sybil's. Oh, can I do this? Because I thought I did this earlier. Hold on, y'all. Can I do this? Let's see. No. Something happened earlier, y'all, where I was able to split my screen, but now it's not doing it. Okay, so, all right. So the Sybil's were a group of women dating all the way back to ancient times, okay? They were a group of women or a group of seers, okay? Ancient seers, or you can call them prophetess, right? They had different names or many different names throughout many different lineages throughout the evolution of Earth, okay? They were known in ancient time as the Sybil's. They were also known as the Black Prophetess, right? They were also known as the voices. Well, the Sybil's really mean the voice or counsel of God, okay? So the Sybil's go all the way back to ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, Africa. They did not originate in Rome or Greece. They originated in Africa, okay? So we're going back to Africa and Egypt. They go way, way back, okay? Now, the Sybil's were also a big part of spirituality and divination. They were the ones that were responsible for prophecy as we now know it today, right? They were the ones responsible for prophecy and being able to bring things from the realms into this dimension, okay? They were seers, all right? Now, when you had the big shift over of when women were pulled out of all religious books, right? If you look back now, you can see over time, any religious document, there is a thread of women being weaving out of historically out of anything religious or anything spiritual, okay? Even when as far as to, let's say, call some of the sacred women whores, okay? I'm talking in particular about Mary Magdalene, okay? Never really giving credit to the energy from the female perspective, but I'm gonna drop a little code here for you right now, okay? You cannot have as above, so below, but it not sync up, okay? As above, so below. As above, you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, right? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost as above, okay? So below, that is going to translate to the Father, the Son, and the Mother, okay? You cannot have a son without a mother, okay? So let me take you back again so you can understand how this Trinity works, okay? Because there's been a lot of misquoting, there's been a lot of hiding, there's been a lot of burning of the truth, a lot of getting rid of the truth. But here's the thing that's happening now. Your fucking DNA's breaking up. You're remembering. So the books that was burnt, the messages that was buried, the temples that was buried, the temples that was burned, the cities that was built upon, all of that shit lived in your DNA. All of that shit lives in your bloodline. So you are now waking up. If you're having dreams about ancient things, if you're being called to watch Gaia, if you're being called to research Egypt, if you're being called to research quantum physics, there's a reason why there's callings for you to tap into certain things, because it has to do with your DNA activation upgrades, okay, by what is it? 3i Atlas as well as A6 Lemon that's upgrading you right now. Okay, you are coming online, and this started when Beetlejuice exploded. When did Beetlejuice? Was that in 2012? I don't remember when the comet Beetlejuice exploded or got into a solar system. Right? I don't remember when that happened. But I'm thinking it's been within the past 10 years. Okay. Definitely I'm thinking also maybe not even the past 10 years, maybe pre-COVID, right before COVID. Okay. And I can't get into that particular comment right now, but you need to know that that opened the gate. That was a window. That was a window to a lot of this energy that's coming in now. Okay. So the Sybil's were a group of women that were very sacred and held very sacredly back in the days. All right, now Kamoy, where did the Sybil's go? Okay, so when politics took over spirituality and religion, and a way to control the masses was the role of the divine feminine needed to be changed. Okay, the role of the divine feminine needed to be changed, and it needed to be taken away because there was no control. I'm sorry, there was no control in people if they had the Trinity, right? So if you understood the role of the divine father, the divine mother, and the child, right, then you would have access to your power, okay? But if you distort the role and you allow men to think women don't have a place in spirituality and that women are not sacred, right? And we're just here to produce babies and all of the other shit that went through every different era and every different century, you know, whatever bullshit they attached, okay? So whether it was, feeding men that women did not have a sacred role in religious or spiritual things, or feeding women that their role was only to be subservient to men, okay? You cannot have a proper operating system of energy without the feminine energy. It cannot happen, okay? And the roles of the Sybil's were the divine keepers of the divine, sacred, feminine energy, okay? Now, so if you want to research the Sybil's more, you can, because I think after this, you probably might want to, okay? Where do the Sybil's go? Okay, so the Sybil's were then taken out of the forefront, and their role was then handed over to what we would call the Catholic priest, okay? So the current day Sybil's, as we be told now, if you were looking for the energy and where the energy is showing up now in our real time history, it is showing up in the Catholic Church. Okay, it's showing up in the Catholic Church, and I'm not going to get too much into that right now because I don't want to divert. Okay, because it's a lot of energy. We can circle back on that another day, but that you can go down that rabbit hole yourself. Okay, so. If you're looking for the mysteries of the Sybil, they're all buried in the Vatican, okay? And I am not here to do conspiracy theories because you don't need to go to the Vatican to tap into the Sybil's wisdom, because their wisdom is coming from an energetic grid, okay? And I'm going to get into that. And I'm going to get into how you can tap into that grid. And I'm going to get into why some of you are probably here on this channel, and why some of you are tuned in and tapped into me because of what we are here to do, okay? Now, with that being said, so you do need to know that the Sybil's were a group of women that were known, okay, for working with the Council of 12 energy, which is the highest source of energy, and they were the ones responsible for seeing what was going to unfold in this particular realm, okay? And they go way back. They go all the way back to Egypt, okay? Now, obviously, in Egypt, they were called different things, okay? So there are many different orders that they would have went into. And I gotta be honest, like I didn't write down all of the different orders and stuff to talk to you about that tonight, because I don't want to get lost of why this energy is important in this era and how this is playing out for you, okay? Now, I do need to let you know one of the things that you're tapping into just energetically right now. Some of you are tapping into that Sybil energy, okay? Now, you need to know that not only is the Sybil energy ancient feminine energy or an ancient feminine current, right? So it will be responsible for your intuition. It will be responsible for what we call mediumship, or what we call what's the other one? Psychic, or or what we call the spiritual realm, right? So that feminine ancient current will be responsible for that energy, okay? Now that ancient feminine current or energy, okay, is known as what we would call, or when we're talking about, like, say, the great marriage, okay? And the great marriage, just so y'all know, really just means unifying your energy, unifying your masculine and your feminine energy, okay? So the Sybil energy is also an archetype that's called the solar logos, okay? She is she's on the Christos Sophia frequency, okay? I'm giving you terms here, first of all, and I gotta tell y'all, first of all, I didn't even know some of these terms until I started getting these channels. Some of these things I had to sit with because I did not know some of these things until the channel came in, and I went to research and confirm things that I was told, okay? Now, so I want to let you know that, okay? So go research Christos Sophia frequency, because you're going to need to know what that is, okay? Now, that's, if I want to just touch on what that means, okay? That's left hand wisdom, left hand spiral of wisdom, and the right hand spiral of truth, okay? So you got Sophia, which is the wisdom, and then you got Christos, which is truth. That's masculine. Sophia, feminine energy, and then you have Christos, masculine energy, okay? Now, I know this is a lot of history, and this right now, this seems very like lectury, okay? But I'm getting to the good shit. I got to give you foundation first so you can understand how this thing is unfolding in you, through you right now, okay? Now we get into the good part, okay? So now I broke down to you like in a nutshell, like who the Sybils were, okay? The Sybils would have been known as people back in the days that had access to see and do the types of spiritual works that I myself do, and other spiritual, or what you call light workers, or what you call shamans, or what you call mediums, right? That's how that energy would be showing up now in this time, okay? Because the energy was hijacked and it was shifted, okay? So we had to change the way that we were still preserving the truth and the wisdom, okay? From the 12th dimension, or from the higher grid, okay? Now, keeping in mind okay, so when you hear me talk about grids, I'm talking about bioelectrical field energy, okay? So you know how I talk about you having an energetic field around you? The earth also has an energetic field that's around it, okay, that we interact with, all right? Just like your cells in your body also has an energetic field that you personally interact with, okay? So as above, so below. It's the same thing. Now, what I did not know before I began researching this channel messages was there were more than one grid, okay? You have the crystalline grid, which is the grid that covers the earth, okay? And this grid has the 12 dimension, or the 12 levels, okay? You have to access all 12 of your chakras, or you have to activate all 12 of your DNA sequence, all right? Which is happening. You don't got to do, see, and this is a beautiful thing for this. You don't have to try to force this to happen. All you have to do is be aware that it's happening and align with your true self, which is happening with Pluto and Aquarius, right? Okay, so all you got to do really is just come into awareness, right? And be present and show up, right? And learn how to be your authentic self. And the work that you think may be so difficult may not be as difficult as you think it is, okay? Because what's going to happen is you're going to find that things that became difficult for you actually becomes easy. Like, let's say something simple like your diet. Sorry, y'all, I was thirsty. Something simple like your diet. Let's say you've been wanting to change your diet for a long time, and you've been, having a difficult time with that. You've been wanting to drink more water. You've been wanting to work out more. Once you become more present of this energy, and you become more aware of what's going on, it becomes effortless. So now you don't have to try to be healthy or eat healthy, your body just begins to tell you what to eat. You start craving different things. You find that you want to be out in nature more. You find that, instead of you pulling right up in front of the door, when you go grocery shopping, you find that you're inspired to park way in the opposite side of the parking lot, so you get more steps in. So what I'm trying to say to you is, all you are required, the first step that's required is just for you to become aware that this is happening and that you're being supported energetically for this shift. Okay, so really what we're doing is leveling up, because we've been talking about this shift since 2018. All right, so really, Taj? Okay, see? Taj is getting, now Taj, I'm going to tell you something, Taj, and we probably going to have to touch bases about this behind the scene. But I want to say what I'm picking up for you energetically, Taj. Try to start tracking the light bodies of your food. Right? Your food have light bodies and chakra systems they're attached to, or subtle bodies. I'm sorry. Subtle bodies and chakra systems that they're attached to, right? So I don't know if you've started to do that already, Taj, but incorporate that in part of your nutrition-based system, okay? You want to incorporate that. So it's not just about the food, but it's also about everything holistic. You're showing people how food is actually transitioning into their body through sound, color, and light is what I'm hearing, Taj, okay? And they're saying ChatGPT can help you with that. That's not something that you need to sit down and, go through thousands of books for. You may have to read a lot of shit about it, but you're not going to have to go pulling 1,000 books off the shelf. Okay? ChatGPT can help you with that. Okay. So where was I? Okay. You just need to be aware. That's the first step. Okay? That's the first step. All right? Now, I'm going to talk about 2 different grid lines. Okay? The first grid line I'm going to talk about is the crystalline grid line. Okay? Now, the crystalline grid line is both a planetary and multi-dimension energetic network system, okay? It's a living lattice of light, consciousness, and geometric intelligence that connects all beings, sacred sites, and consciousness nodes throughout the earth and the cosmos, okay? So, I'm going to repeat that again. So, in case you want to go do your research in the crystalline grid, you can. All right. So when I'm talking about the crystalline grid, or when I'm talking about grid work, okay. And let me show y'all something. So do I have when I did this note? So I have a friend who is a quantum physicist, and some of the downloads when they were coming through, I sat with him and I was telling him, like, what my guys were telling me, and I was also drawing some of the channel messages, okay? And this is how the grid looks. It looks like honeycomb or bees, okay? And I don't remember what pattern this is in geometry, but this is what the grid looks like, okay? So if you can think of your bioelectrical field, this is the grid. And if you can think of the crystalline grid, this is how the grid looks. And when we think even, so those of you that are going to be doing grid work, what you're going to be doing is filling back in these spaces that have holes in them, okay? Now, I want to tell you this, okay? Okay, come on. What do you mean filling in holes in the grid and bioelectrical field? Like, how the fuck are you supposed to do that, right? All of this is done energetically. All right? All of this is done energetically. That's the beautiful thing about it. So the first step that you need to be aware of is that it exists, okay? That's the first step. Is it that it exists and that you are being supported in what you need to access this field, okay? Now, let me just say this. On the basic level, everybody right now has access to their bioelectrical field. On the basic level of when we're talking about fields or grid lines or grid works, okay? So you can think of your bioelectrical field as your own personal grid system, okay? So Everybody currently has access to their bioelectrical field. The problem is our bioelectrical field has holes in it. Okay? And Kamoy, how do you begin to heal the holes in your bioelectrical field? By dealing with your fucking trauma, by dealing with your insecurity, by dealing with your fears, by dealing with the lies that were told to you about who you really are, by walking in unforgiveness, by not taking things personally, by owning your shit, by being comfortable with you and who you are. That is how you begin to heal this grid, because it's an energetic grid. Okay? So your grid's got holes in it. The grids, even the crystalline grid got holes in it because we've been told a lot of lies, right? So we're growing up in school, and okay, I need to run upstairs and I need to grab something. I got to run upstairs and grab something because it's important for me to show you. But we have been told in school, let me, give me a minute. I'll be right back. I got to grab this because I need this to explain my point. 1 second. Okay, y'all. I be geeking out, y'all. And I be geeking out, so I got all my notebooks and my note in my bag and stuff, so y'all need to forgive me, but I needed to go grab this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay. I showed you guys the grid looks like this. Your grid looks like this, right? And it has holes in it. So you're going to be repairing the grid, okay? And like I said, the grid that's being repaired is going to be repaired through your emotions and your thoughts, okay? That is the channel in which you're going to be repairing the grid, okay? What I went upstairs to grab, because you need to be aware of this, okay? This right here is going to be how you are going to also start to repair grids, okay? A lot of times we were taught in school what a triangle is, we were taught what a square is, what a polygon was, but they never explained to us that those shapes in school that we call polygons, or we call, what do they call them? Your shapes. We were never explained that those shapes turn into sacred geometry, okay? We were never told that each word that we speak is a sacred geometry. We were never told that each thought we think is a sacred geometry, right? We never told that. We were not told that there's a field in which corresponds with the sacred geometry. We were not told that, okay? So the crystalline grid, as we know, it corresponds with the sacred geometry. Okay, so you can go look up the crystalline grid, all right? So you have your bioelectrical field grid, you got your crystalline grid, and then I was also introduced to a grid that I did not even know exists, or that I didn't even know that I had access to, okay? And that grid, is the Sophionic grid. Okay, so this is the grid. So okay, so if you think of your bioelectrical field, right, which is your own personal grid, then you got the crystalline grid, which will be that grid that fits over the earth. And then over the earth you have the Sophionic grid. Okay, it's like a blanket that wraps over the earth's grid. All right, now some of us that are here to do healing work, that are here to do repair work in the energetic field, right? That is to help people through their trauma, to help people through recognizing their truth, to help people to stand in their power, right? However you fall along, whether you're coming in with channel messages from different light beings and from different beings from other galaxies, whether you're coming in from the place of bringing forth more holistic herbal remedies where everything is not so pharmaceutical, right? Whether it is you're coming in with some Reiki healing to help people heal, whether you're coming in maybe with some prophetic word of how the earth is going to go on, undergo specific changes, right? It doesn't matter how you're here to help, right? However you're here to help, and the help that you are going to be doing to helping what we call humanity. And let me just tell you this, okay? And when I started this journey, I was, all about, definitely thinking that there was an us against them. I definitely thought that there was an us against them. I definitely was on the, this culture, it's black people, and our spiritual power versus, what was taken away from us. And I have to be honest with you guys. The truth that I have come into, it is not an us against them. It is not black people's wisdom versus, white people taking or hiding our wisdom from us. It's really just a group of people that hid wisdom from everybody, right? Because it's universal wisdom. And when you get to understand how the universe flows, you understand that the universe is not separating us by race. We are being separated by our DNA and our light codes, okay? Some of us have remnants from other places, and some of us have remnants from other galaxies, okay? We are all from source, but we all have remnants from different places depending on our galactical and universal lineage, or maybe even earthly lineage, okay? So if I had to say where the separation comes in, the separation is not by race, skin color, or culture when it comes to a galactic, if you had to do separation from a galactic thing, right? It has nothing to do with a skin color. One of the things that I learned along this walk, okay, when I first started out, I thought it was, you had your black culture and spirituality, and, it's only certain things that we respond to. It's not like that. It's not like that. You understand that even a black person can recycle back into a reincarnation cycle where you come back white. You can be a white person that hates a black person, and you can circle back and come back to be a black person. It's not about your skin color. It's your melanin signifies definitely access to information. So I can't tell you that part is not true, okay? That part is true, but it has nothing to do with you being better or no. It has to do with your lineage in the stars, okay? Your activation. Nothing to do with your race. So racism, as we know it, does not play out in the cosmos the way we think it does. It does not. Okay, it does not. You can die and come back here as a man if you are a woman in this lifetime. So let me give you an example. If you are a man that was beating on your wife in this lifetime, or you were treating women like shit in this lifetime, you can reincarnate as a woman in another lifetime, and you be the one getting your ass whooped. That's how this shit work. So please understand, when you, all of these labels and a lot of these constructs that we was given, that's not how it works in the spiritual realm. That's not how it works in other dimensions. Okay, that is not how it works. And if you can bypass a lot of those things, I promise you, one, you'll be a lot lighter. Two, you'll be able to navigate smoother, because a lot of the shit that they push out for you to be triggered by, right, because of the separation and the divisions, right? You're not triggered by those separation and those divisions anymore, which means that you can stand and hold space for the people that still are. Because at the end of the day, everybody's going to wake up. It's just not everybody's graduations this time around, right? Or everybody's graduating to a different level. So some people may not be graduating to the level of fixing or repairing, the crystal grid line, because that's not where they are on that evolution. But they may be evolving, maybe from realizing that, maybe, Muslims and Christians do have more in common than I thought. That could be their level of graduation, just understanding the common denominator between them and somebody else that thinks differently or sees the world differently, right? So they may not be in the level where they understand their part in repairing the energetic grid. Right? Now, let me just say this to you so you don't think you got to be out here doing a whole bunch of shit and thinking you better than other people, because that's not how the fuck this work. Okay? You being kind to someone just because you fucking can, that's you repairing the energetic grid, because you understand that you don't got to take none of this personal. You can give freely. You can move freely, because you know that in which you give is yours to have. Can't nothing be taken away or held back from you. But once you recognize that and you stand in that truth, then that energy can flow, right? We've been programmed for so long to think that we're separated from things, that we're separated from people, and we're not. There is not a person on this earth right now that should be starving. Mother Earth has enough resources for every human being, every animal on this planet. Everybody on this planet. And in access. And you can have some leftovers. If we really evaluated truth, if we really stood in truth, if we really stood on universal principles, ain't nobody will be hungry. Nobody would be hungry. If we really operated on universal truth and principles, nobody would feel unloved. Nobody would feel unsupported. Nobody would feel left out. But you know how that changed? By you changing you, by you being your own guru, right? So please know, you being able to stand in the gap and change and heal and repair the crystalline grid has nothing to do so much with you physically, no, it has to do with your awareness, your presence, and how you show up and who you are, and then you creating a space for other people to show up and be their own gurus also, okay? So you're going to need to know about the crystalline grid, because some of you are working on that grid currently, and some of you are, will be, all right? And I'm just going to say this. Anybody that may be triggered by sacred geometry or quantum physics or bridging science and spirituality, right? Please know that more than likely you're probably a grid repair or grid worker, okay? Just know that, okay? So some of you are working on the crystalline grid, which is the Earth's grid, right? And some of you are on the Sophionic grid, okay? Now remember, one of them is masculine in energy and one of them is feminine in energy, okay? Now, Let me repeat what this grid is again. This grid is just planetary and multi-dimensional energetic network, okay? So it's a network of energy, all right? This is why you can think about somebody and they call you. This is why you can think of something, you open your phone and the first thing that pops up is that thing you talked about. That's that field, okay? This is why you can go to the doctor and people can get a water pill and think they healed. This is that field, okay? So they having the placebo effect, right? But they don't know that the placebo effect is happening because they're tapping into that multi-dimensional energy grid, all right? Everything is energy. Some things are just renamed and recoded to confuse you. All right. Or some things are just renamed and recoded and not hidden from you, but hidden for you for a time as such. Okay. You couldn't get this information in much fluidity as it's happening now 50, 60 years ago. The masses were not ready and prepared. So the forefront and the forerunners of this information 50 or 60 years ago, people would consider them to be more crazy, right? Or hippies, right? Or you on LSD, or you take too much drugs, you smoke too much weed, right? This type of information 50 or 60 years ago was not mainstream information. It was called woo-woo, or people was afraid of this information. Okay? So just know that it is time now for you to wake up. Okay? All right. So I wanted to let you know maybe some remnants of how this may be showing up for some of you, okay? Hold on, I wrote my notes. Okay. All right. So like I said, the way that you're going to be repairing these grids is really just showing up as your authentic self and then giving other people the grace to be, right? So you're going to be reestablishing harmony between intellect, which means you're going to be bridging true wisdom, right, within your conversations. It's not just about your logical sense. It's not just about what you can see in black and white, right? You're going to be opening up things from a space of your heart chakra, which is your real brain. Okay, so you're going to be the resonance that people are going to be seeking for. You're going to be a beacon of that resonance that people are going to be seeking for, right? So establishing harmony between intellect, emotions, the body, and the environment, all right? So that's embodying mind, body, soul, and spirit, and then connecting with the cosmos, all right? So you in essence, okay, really that means living your truth in compassion, clearly in coherence, right? Which becomes you operating and healing your own personal field. When you begin to live in truth, compassion, and you're clear about what you're doing, right? Now, it don't have to be that you want to go out here and start a meditation center for people, or you want to teach yoga, kundalini yoga, so people could have that kundalini energy start to travel safely, or you want to go out and you want to be a psychiatrist to help people understand this. And let me just sidebar here. Psychology and astrology, right, within the next 10 to 15 years are going to become intertwined, okay? A lot of Carl Jung work is going to be intertwined with astrology and psychology. You're going to find that they're going to be fusing a lot of Carl Jung's work with astrology on the psychology level, okay? I'm documenting that here now, all right? Let me say that again. Psychologists are going to start to use astrology to help treat people. That is part of the Quasi era. Medicine is going to start working with the herbalists or the holistic healers. That is part of the Quasi era where science and spirituality are becoming one, okay? That's part of the Quasi era. You can no longer separate science and spirit. You can't do that anymore, not in the Quasi era, okay? So just know, energetically, how you're going to be repairing the grid is by standing in your own truth, operating in compassion, operating in coherence, and being clear about who you are, what you want, and where you're going, right? And that could just simply be you working your normal 9 to 5, but knowing, you know what? I'm an introvert. Don't like a lot of Lord crowds. I don't like to be lied to. I don't like people that make promises and break them. You know, I show up for those I love. Like whatever your truth is about who you are, and you're vibrating on that truth, and you're moving in that truth with compassion, and you're clear about that. You're repairing that grid. So you don't have to be a spiritual leader to repair the grid. The grid just requires you to be who you are, authentically, organically, right? In compassion, right? That's what the grid is going to require you to do. So which means that you now control what we call karma, right? So what we call karma, you now begin to control that, okay? You begin to control karma, because karma is simply cause and effect, which means that if I take this cause, aka if I take this action is going to produce this effect, which we consider karma. Okay. Some of you may have even already begun to see the grid. I was seeing the grid for years, and I didn't understand it until I started watching Altered Carbon. When I saw Altered Carbon, I think it was season 2, and they showed the grid, I'm like, oh my God, that's the fucking thing I've been seeing. That's the thing that's been apparent to me when I walk into the rooms. When the sun hit my face, I'm seeing this grid, but I'm seeing the holes in the grid, right? And then I went and I'm talking to my friend Travis, who's the quantum physics, and I'm like, Travis, I saw this and this, and then I'm explaining to him. He's like, yeah, that's that, and that's that. And then I'm like, yeah, and then my guy from Andromeda told me this, and then I saw this light code when I was sun gazing, and he's like, yeah, and then this, just mind-boggling shit, right, that you disregard sometimes because, you know, well, I don't watch too much movies, maybe I done heard it somewhere before, not knowing that you're tapping into latent parts of yourself that have been asleep for a really long time. And the more that you do your healing, and the more that you walk through your fear, you're fixing this grid line. Now, the important thing that I wanted to really get here, right, is the Sybils were not like one single person. This was a group, or an office of people, an office of women, right? Or you want to put maybe even an office of consciousness, right? This was an archetype role that they embodied, where they were able to bridge the higher truths and wisdom, right? And speak forth things that they saw coming with accuracy. Accuracy. So this is where you get the whole in the Catholic religion, where you have to go speak to the priest and give your confessions, right? Because people would come to the Sybils for advice and to get wisdom. It was never about you going to the Sybils to get to God. No, that's not what they did. They maintained the truth of ancient times. And the truth of ancient times was we were all energetic beings. We are connected to everything. We are not separated from anything or anyone. And especially if you are an empath at this time, to be activated at this particular time, right now, this is why you can feel the energy when you walk into a room. This is why you can feel when somebody's talking about you. This is why you may be having a conversation with somebody and you can pinpoint in their energy where they may be sick, or you can pinpoint the ailment or the disease or dis-ease within somebody. A lot of you are walking around with all of these amazing gifts and you don't understand where they're flowing from. And a lot of you are connected to the Sybil energy resonance archetype that's now coming online. Oh, which leads me into the comet A6 Lemon. A6 Lemon comet that's riding through the atmosphere right now is also activating the Sybil resonance frequency, okay? Did y'all know there was a 13? Did y'all know there was a? Can I tell y'all? I found some shit out in my research. It's just mind-boggling. Like I have so much shit to share with y'all. I literally had to sit down today and be like, okay, y'all are gonna have to give me a framework in which I have to bring this information for, because this is a lot of shit, and I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. I have to go ground myself. The information is coming in so fast. Right? And there are all these new terminology and shit that I wrote down years ago that didn't make sense years ago that are now starting to make sense now. So go pull your notebooks out. Go pull your notebooks out. Go pull out those recordings. Go pull out maybe those those notes off of your iPhone. Go pull out your journals. Go pull out your journals, especially journals going back to 2012, okay? So anything from 2012 and 2021 is going to be relevant between now and 2028. Let me just go ahead and let you know that. Go back to 2012, then look at 2021. There was something in 2012 that got activated, something that you started, something that you dreamt about, something that you, okay. My son and mom passed. Okay, so Kim, look at 2012. Something got activated in 2012, a dream, a passion, a healing, a gateway of some sort happened and opened in 2012. Okay, you started your journey. Okay, in 2021, okay, because 2021 was a mirror year of 2012, okay? 2021 was a mirror year of 2012. In 2021, something, whatever you started in 2012 would have now come into physical, what do you call that? Tangible, physically tangible in 2021. In 2012, it may have been a thought, it may have been an idea. By 2021, you should have had the experience or something tangible from whatever that was in 2012. Now, here's where the trigger is. You may have paused in 21, sorry though. In 2021, by the time you got around to doing whatever that was, you may have paused. You may have put it aside. You may have set it down. For whatever reason, because remember 2021 is really when we had that pandemic, so you wasn't really able to do much, right? A lot of people had to pause. Go back to 2012, look at what you paused from 2012 and 2021, because between now and 2028 is your window to get moving on that. Okay. Being your authentic self. Did you pause it in 21, Kim? Did you pause that in 2021, being your authentic self? And I could see, and in all honesty, I could see how somebody could probably pause themselves in 2021 from that, Kim, because you were forced indoors with people at 2021, right? At 2021, you were forced, yep, it got heavy. Yep, yep, it got heavy. Okay, so y'all saw how Kim pinpointed what hers was? Okay. All right. Okay. Because Taj is a lot younger than us. Okay, right? So Taj, if you can go back to 2012, right? Look at the connection between 2021 and 2012, even if it was a thought, even if it's something you was doing just for fun, hanging around and playing with your cousins and your cousins and stuff, right? Your siblings and stuff, right? So go back to 2012, Taj, because I know you're a little younger than us, okay? And look at what dreams or aspirations, even if you was young, that may have been anchored in 2012 that you saw come into fruition in 2021. that you may have put on pause, because it is now time to reclaim those things and complete those things, because the energy is supporting you for completion up until 2028. But that's perfect, Taj. But that's perfect. I think that's perfect too, because were you dancing in 2012? So think about what you was doing in 2012 and how it corresponds with 2021. Okay? That's part of you being able to fix the grid too, your own personal bioelectrical field first. Okay? You got to fix your own personal bioelectrical field. Let me break this down to you. Well, come on. What does bioelectrical field mean? I'm finna tell you what bioelectrical fields mean. We're going to chunk it down, right? We chunking it down, right? Definitely dancing. Okay, Taj, start there. If you got any journals, Taj, because I know you're right. If you got any journals, okay? If you got any journals, Taj, go back to your journals in 2012 and see if there was any dreams or any passion or anything that you circled around then. Kim, if you got any journals, you want to go back to your journals also too, Kim. And Kim, I don't know why I'm seeing you in psychology, or what's up with psychology and Reiki. Kim, psychology and Reiki is what I'm hearing. Psychology and Reiki will be heavily supported between now and 2028 as part of your completion. Okay? So your bioelectrical field, let's talk about what that is. So that way you can have an understanding so it does not scare you, okay? Remember, a lot of these terms that we talk about are interchangeable, okay? So if you can find the allegory or the connection, you can't get lost in none of these fucking systems, all right? Because they're all talking about the same thing in different ways, all right? So whether it's the 12 disciples in the Bible, right, which translate to the 12 zodiac signs, or the 12 disciplines, right? It don't really matter, right? Or the 12 DNA strands, right? You still got to activate these points. There's still things that you need to do to activate these points. Okay. All right. So Kim said, I put a whole structure of school. Okay, back then I put myself back in the burner and helped my husband with his, okay. Yeah, okay. So Kim, I don't need to say no more, Kim. Okay, so that lets you know right there, okay, what you need to pull back, rein back in. That is going to help you heal your bioelectrical field. And I'm not done with the bio. I'm going to tell y'all in a second how you can break down the bioelectrical field. Okay, Miss T said, divorced in 2012, stopped stuck dating, okay, day trade, started back in 2021. Okay, all right, Miss T. Okay, so Miss T, now what you want to look at, Miss T, is completing those things, or go back to your journals, Miss T, and make sure there's nothing missing, because you got a 2-year window of energy that's going to be helping you support completion of whatever it is that is, okay? Yeah, look at what you put down in 2012 when we went on pause. Look at what you paused in 2012. I'm sorry, in 2021. Look at what you paused. Because whatever you paused should have been connected to 2021. Okay. Now, here's another thing I want you to jot down and look at, and we're not necessarily gonna do it now because I've been on here for a little while, and my son is he's ready to come eat dinner. Okay, so the next mirror energy we're gonna be looking at is 2023 and 2032. Which is coming up soon. That's your next mirror energy, all right? We're not going to get into that tonight, but we do need to touch topics on that, okay? 2023 And 2032 is going to be your next mirror energy. All right. And we're going to circle back to that one because I have not write notes down from there, and I don't want to divert and change topics because I just did that for 2021. All right. So your bioelectrical field. What is your bioelectrical field? Your bioelectrical field is your electric magnetic field. And the way that you control your electrical magnetic field is not just by what you eat, but it's also by what you think and your emotions. Okay. If I had to put into which part is most important, I would say not just breathing and eating is important. It is also important for you to be able to maintain and control your bioelectrical field. Okay, your bioelectrical field is your electrical field, which is electrical in nature. This is the masculine aspect of the field. This is where your thoughts lie, your thinking lie. This is intellect, not fucking intelligence. Intelligence and intellect, two different things. Okay, so this is intellect, decision making, deductive reasoning skills, the masculine in nature. Okay, so your electrical field is masculine in nature, and it has to do with your thoughts, your thinking, deductive reasoning, logical decision-making part of yourself. Okay, that's what your bioelectrical field represents. Okay, your thoughts. That part of the field is controlled through your thoughts, not just what you fucking eat. Through your thoughts. Okay, it is a field that you may not necessarily be able to see with your naked eyes, but you can train your eyes to see this field. Okay, either by sun gazing or by training your eyes in the dark to read energy. Okay. Now, with that being said, the magnetic part of your bioelectrical magnetic field is the feminine aspect of the field, okay? This is the aspect that we will call the wound or the darkness, okay? It is not electrical in nature. It is magnetic in nature, all right? So when we talk about the spark, we're talking about the electrical part, the masculine part, okay? The logical part, that would be the electrical part of your field. When we're talking about the magnetic part, we're talking about the feminine part of the field, which is responsible for your intuition, your creativity, okay? Yes, you can, Kim. You can absolutely train yourself to read energies. Absolutely, and I can do a video on that if you want me to. But you absolutely can train yourself to read energies, okay? Kim, when I first started doing this, Kim, we had dial-up internet. There was no YouTube back then, and all the this stuff I had to learn without the fucking internet, which means that I had to research, I had to join groups, I even went back to church at one point, but I can honestly say that my spirit and my guides taught me this shit. And a lot of this is really just me waking up to the truth in me, okay? And once you begin to wake up to the truth in you, Kim, you hear things and then the confirmation shows up, okay? So yes, you can teach yourself to see energy as well as teach yourself to feel energy, okay? So I'm going to give you a quick exercise right now, Kim. Practice. This is how you can practice, okay? You can practice by sitting with your eyes closed and envision sitting in a chair, right? Okay. But before you envision the chair, tell yourself what chair you're sitting in, okay? Say, for example, okay, so I'm going to give you the chairs. So practice this by yourself. I want you to tell me what the energy feels. The next time I come alive, tell me what the energy feels like, if you can distinguish energetically between a wooden chair, right? A wooden chair with no handles, right? And a very well soft cushioned chair with what you call it, handles, not handles, what do you call it, the arms, the chair arms, okay? How you do the exercise is simple. You simply close your eyes and envision yourself sitting in a wooden chair, and then you close your eyes and you envision yourself sitting in the chair with cushions and the arms. And when you sit with your eyes closed and you envision yourself sitting in the chair, you're going to feel what it feels like to sit in a wooden chair versus what it feels like to sit in a chair with cushion. Those are two different energy signatures. That is how you can begin to read energy, okay? Teach yourself, just do that trick. Do that trick for 7 days. Just sit 3 to 5 minutes and imagine yourself sitting in a wooden chair. And you could be lying in bed. Just sit in a wooden chair. Right? And you will literally be able to feel the difference between the wooden chair and the soft chair. And then you can begin to feel the energy, the subtle changes in the room, right? And you can even begin to link the energy up. Well, this energy feels like it's hard, right? Oh, this energy feels kind of soft. Oh, I like this vibe. You understand what I'm saying, Kim? Right? That's a simple exercise. That can get you to begin to teach yourself how to pick up on subtle energy, okay? Now, that's feeling energy or sensing energy, right? So here's the trick for you to learn how to see energy, okay? This is how you're going to teach yourself how to see energy, all right? If you are not used to seeing energy in the daylight, you know, the easiest way that you can train yourself to see energy is in the dark. Okay? So, before you go to bed at night, you turn everything off in your room, okay? Everything off in your room. All right? And you want to just keep your eyes open. And as you keep your eyes open, at first everything is going to go pitch black. Then you're going to begin to see the the furniture and all of the other things in the room. You're going to begin to see the outline of those things appear. And the more you stare out into the things in the room, you're going to begin to notice the energetic field appear in the dark, okay? It's going to look like static in the dark, Cam. Okay? It's going to look like static, right? Now, I would say also, if you have a TV in your room, maybe start looking in the area of the TV first, because the TV is going to have more of an electrical charge than, maybe the side of the room where the TV is not. Okay? So the best way that I've learned how to train myself to see energies by doing it in the dark. Turn off all of the lights, pitch black. You allow all of the shadows of the corner of the things to start to appear. Keep your eyes open and just stare out into the blackness, and eventually you're going to see that electric magnetic field pop up. And it usually starts off by looking maybe a little red with black, red and maybe yellow sparks, and then it looks like static. Can you remember back in the days when they would cut the TV off at a certain time? I'm so telling my age right now. They would cut the TV off at a certain time, right? And first you would have like the colors, like the ding with the colors, but then after the colors you would see static, like that static in the TV, right? Yeah, it starts to look like the static from back in the days in the TV. Okay? Yep, the lines. So remember when the lines went off, you would get like the static before the program came out? Ooh, or if the antenna was not connected to the thing, yeah, that's what you're looking for. So when you start to see the static, you're there. Okay? You're there. You are there. We are just taught to look with these two eyes instead of looking with this eye, right? In another way you can do this too. Let me teach y'all something too. Even if you close your eyes right now, because there's no such thing as out of darkness comes light, right? Even if you close your eyes right now and it's dark, well, you probably can't do it now because I got lights, but try closing your eyes tonight. When you close your eyes, Kim, and you close your eyes in the dark, your eyes don't have pitch black, right? If you've been working on yourself, when you close your eyes, you're going to see color in your mind's eye, right? And a lot of times when you close your eyes at first, if your third eye is still in development, that light is going to look like static, right? Have you ever rubbed your eyes and noticed that your eyes start producing these beautiful mandala shapes and colors and all of these different textures? Have you ever noticed that? Have anyone ever rubbed their eyes and it feels so good, but as you're rubbing your eyes, you see all these beautiful colors and these beautiful mandalas start to mold and shift and yeah. It's there. It's absolutely there, right? So that's what you're activating. That's what you're reconnecting to, right? Everything is sacred geometry. So this goes back to what I showed you. They did not tell us. They did not tell us that this is what we've been using. I was listening to Stephen Burns today, and I love Stephen Burns, okay? Because Stephen Burns, you know, this is where I go to get my what is he's a geologist. I think that's what he is. Who looks at the planets? Is it an astronomist? Well, I don't know if he's an astronomist or a geographer or whatever, but he's into the planets. So he posts the planets up on the screen, and he shows you what the planets is, and he tells you what the sun is doing, and he tells you the solar flares. So major shout out to Stephen Burns, okay, because I am geeked out. I love that stuff. Because that stuff can show you where you are energetically and what's going on within you, okay? So I was watching him tonight because he's telling us where Atlas is and where Lemon is, right? And then he put up a picture of, what planet was that? It wasn't even a planet. It was a freaking comet, Betelgeuse. He put up a zoomed in picture of the comet Betelgeuse. Do y'all know that comet was a fucking sacred geometry? Do y'all know that comet resonate when it was zoomed in as a fucking sacred geometry? So these things are showing up outside of us in the sky, maybe as lights, you know, or we're tapping into different things, you know. You may think, you know, if I'm dealing with maybe somebody that's transitioned, or if I'm dealing with another planetary being. Let's take my guy Tedequa, for example, okay? My guy Tedequa is from Andromedon, right? Do you know that Tedequa and Andromedon is really just a sacred geometric shape that I can tap into, right? And let me tell you, right? And let me show you how I can get to Tedequa, right? If Tedequa is sacred geometry, and let me just tell you, he's from the Crystal City in Andromedon, and he told me you can only get there two ways. You either got to resonate to get to that Crystal City, or you got to be invited. So you cannot zap your way in to Andromedon from NASA. They ain't fucking getting in. That's just not how it works. If you are not resonating on that particular frequency, you cannot get into that space, right? And they don't teach you this. Access to these places, you gotta come in with sacred geometry. Bottom line. Okay? You gotta come in with sacred geometry. All of these things mean things. This is why you got the Metatron's cube, you got the Visica Pessis. I always fuck that up. Y'all have to excuse me because my words are just all tangled up. You got the tree of life, you got the flower of life, okay? You got Victor, the equilibrium. All of these are sacred geometry that can get you into place. And let me show you something real crazy, right? So remember I said, when you close your eyes and your eyes is itching, you're rubbing your eyes, you start to see all of these beautiful colors and these mandalas and these sacred geometry. What the fuck you think you're tapping into? That's just showing you these things. Do you not know that you could create your own sacred geometry because the codes are within you? Do you not know that every time you walk in your truth and you're fixing the crystalline grid line, that you're pushing out sacred geometry and you're clearing the space for other people to do the same? Do you not know that every time you speak, your words are creating a sacred geometry because everything is a sound and a vibration and a frequency in a geometrical shape? Do you know that? This is why you can speak to water, and water can become as crystallized and as beautiful as a snow crystal. Google that. That scientist that showed you that water is a sentient thing, like each drop of water, when you speak to water, right? He had two types of experiments that he did, right? With water. One water, he spoke negative words, bad words, and the crystals that formed from that water, that portion of water for that experiment was distorted. They were not shaped or formed properly. And then there was another glass of water that he spoke to, and it may not have been a glass because these was crystallized. Okay, it was another portion of water that he spoke to, kind, loving words, and those that were spoken to kindly, that the water crystals that formed were beautiful, sacred, geometrical shaped. No distortation at all. Do you know what we call good and evil, bad and good? Is distorted frequencies that we cannot that's not being reflected properly. That's fractal in light. So what we know is good or bad is really just distortation from the truth, because the grids are fucked up. The grids got holes in them. So think about this, right? Let's think about this. If you had a grid, and let's just say your grid is supposed to look like this, right? Hole like this. But your grid got holes in it, right? Like my grid got holes in it, right? So my grid is supposed to look whole, but my grid got holes in it, right? And if I'm a light beam, so you know when you put light on a crystal, how you get all those prisms of light to shoot out like the rainbow? So if I'm a light beam and all of those lights and all of those prisms are supposed to shine, right, to keep me whole, to connected, right? This is where you don't age. This is where you don't get sick, right? So if all of that light is supposed to shine, right, in the spaces of my grid and reflect out all of this love and this purity and all of this beautiful stuff, but I have holes, then I'm going to be missing some of the information or the coded information, right? So I'm not my true self here. There's insecurity. There's a gap of insecurity right here. There's a self-doubt down here. There's a self-worth issue over here. Matter of fact, I got trauma down here, you know, from my parents. And then up here is where I think men ain't worth shit because of my past experience, right? And then over here, these kids ain't shit because, you know, I done took my trauma and dumped it on the kids. So now the kids ain't shit, right? And then the cycle goes on, right? So now the kids is over here with mama, you know, done passed on her generational curse. So the cycle fucking continues. Because your grid got holes in it. And how you fixing those holes? By being yourself. Yeah, I got molested when I was younger. And yeah, that took away my innocence. Yeah, and then it made me grow up, and it made me feel like, you know, in order for me to have sex with you, that you needed to love me. I felt very uncomfortable. I can't do one night stands because that don't make me feel empowered, you know. Like I had to work through all of these things. But how long am I supposed to hold on that somebody took away my innocence? Am I supposed to live the rest of my life, right, feeling like I can't trust men and I can't explore myself with my partner sexually because I'm still holding on to a past trauma, because that's a hole in my grid, right? So now I can't freely express love, right? And part of love is having sex with my partner. But now I can't really express love with my partner because when I'm having sex with my partner, I'm in my fucking head, right? I'm in my head, right? Now, so I can't even really explore that aspect of my partner because I'm still holding on to my unhealed part that told me that I'm not safe, right? Unless I'm having sex out of love, but we just had an argument and he want to have sex, and you know, so he thinks that sex fixes things and it doesn't, and that makes me feel even more uncomfortable because I want to talk about this, but he wants to have sex, and not understanding that sex don't heal everything, but sex could also be a way of somebody communicating with you. I'm a Scorpio, so sex is another way of me communicating and connecting to my partner at a deeper level, right? But before I was able to get there, I had to walk through that pain from my past. I had to heal that part of me that was taken advantage of when I was little, right? I had to work out my insecurities so that way I didn't hold my husband hostage for that part of me, right? I had to do that. That didn't mean that the person that did it to me got away with anything, because that's not how that works, right? That don't mean that he got away with anything. And I'm talking about, when I say got away with anything, I'm talking about, because this person never did jail time. This person never did jail time, but I'm going to tell you what happened to this person. This person wound up getting cancer. Okay? So the universe does not do blind justice. right? The universe don't do blind justice. And Cancer, just so you know, is linked to you holding on to emotions, especially within family shit, okay? Cancer can be you holding on to unforgiveness. Links to Cancer, right, usually has to do with the heart, unforgiveness, all right? Not emotionally really expressing yourself. Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon deals with your emotions, okay? In Reiki, energetic healing, the first thing that they teach you is that all disease, as we know them in modern medicine, is first connected to a dis-ease within your spirit, within your body, within your true self. So what you're being asked to do in this quasi era is connect to the truth within you. Truth does not need external validation because it will produce external verification. That is the truth of the quasi era. You're not going to have to seek outside of yourself for this. Okay? You're not going to have to seek outside of yourself for this. You're not. It's a beautiful time to be awake right now. It's a beautiful time for you to be who you are right now, because nobody has the power to judge you and make you feel less than unless you absolutely give them the power to do that. And that's real talk. You know, we've been saying that for a few years now on this channel, but now it's an embodiment of truth. Really, it's an embodiment of truth. I attract light workers, healers. I attract people that are different. People that may be the black sheep of the family. People whose graduation it is to help heal the, and I'm not even saying help heal the world, because the way that you heal the world is by you authentically showing up for yourself and being yourself. I wanted to touch a little bit more on the Sybils to let you know that the Sybil energy, it is happening and it is being activated with the Comet 8I6 Lemon. All right. The Sybils are now returning in the energy field where they're operating off of the Sophia grid line. Let me see if I said that right, because I feel like I fucked that up, y'all. The Sophoranic grid line, okay, is what they're operating on now. Keeping in mind that that energy is not one particular person, but this grid line, okay, is where you can find all of the information for prophecies and predictions, or, you know, anything to do with housing truth and wisdom for the collective on a universal scale is what they protect. And right now they're calling for everyone that is now supposed to be standing and helping to be a part of that energetic center. All right, you're now being called online. So if you've been triggered to study things like quantum physics, if you've been triggered to study things like Reiki, if you've been triggered to study things like solar flares, if you've been triggered to study things like sacred geometry, if you've been triggered to study things about astrology, anatomy, okay, or finding how all of those things where the connections are to those things, just know that you could also be called to the Sybil resonance, okay? And that resonance, like I said, although it was a group of women from ancient time that carried this wisdom and held wisdom and truth that was taken over by the Catholic system, okay? You're going to find that at this time, you can now stand in your true rightful position, okay? You don't need to be a part of any particular order for this. You just need the self-awareness. All you need to do is to be open, and the information is going to start to be transmitted to you directly for you to be able to confirm it, okay? Remember, truth does not need external validation, but it is going to receive external verification, okay? A lot of the books needs to be written again because they've been destroyed. So a lot of us coming online and coming back into remembrance are going to be releasing information that we remember, that's connecting the dots of things that we cannot find anymore. Okay, so some of the books that we know to be true now are going to become outdated because of the resonance that we've now stepped into. Quantum physics or quantum mechanics or anything quantum, the quantum bioelectrical field, everything is going to be quantum. Everything is moving at a quantum speed, okay? And sometimes, you know, you feel like today is Tuesday, but it really feel like it's a Saturday. You are not fucking crazy, okay? It could be very well a Saturday because we are also operating on two different timelines at the same time. Do I have my notes right here? As I was watching Stephen Burns today, I was also doing my my little research. So y'all can't see it, but we are operating on two different timelines at the same time. We're operating from the timeline here of 2025, but we're also operating from a timeline of 7530. The 7530 is the year sequence before it was taken over by the Catholic Church. Okay, when the Catholic, and not even the Catholic, when the Christian religion became the one religion that was going to be the religion of the earth or the world, okay, the date was changed, okay? They took away the date. So if the date was not changed, we would currently be in 7530 and not in 2025. Now, let me tell you why this is important, okay? Because if you see, I know this looks like tic-tac-toe, and I'm deeming this to be tic-tac-toe numerology, okay? That is not what it's called, so don't go Googling tic-tac-toe numerology because that's not what it's called, okay? I'm just explaining it to you in the tic-tac-toe version so you can understand some shit, okay? Now, if you look over here at this line, matter of fact, let me get another notebook so you can see even more clearly, okay? Now, take a picture, flip your screen upside down so it can transpose it for you because I can't figure out how to flip these words. I tried doing what Tanya told me to do and it didn't work, okay? So, let me show you something right here of why that's important and why you need to know that, especially if you are operating in your truth, okay? I'm going to tell you how you know that you are moving differently than some people, okay? Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. Okay, here we go. So, the calendar was changed, removing 5,500 and approximately between 8 and 10 years, okay? So it can be anywhere between 5,505 years or 5,510 years, okay? Just know that, all right? So I usually use anywhere between 5 years to 8 years when I'm doing the calculation, all right? Now, I did find a calendar online that has it down to a 5-year time span. So that's the example that I'm going to be using now, all right? Now, this is why this is important. The reason why you're on two different timelines and the reason why this is important is because this shit has been scrambled to fuck with you. Everything is energy. And if you can distort or corrupt energy, people can be fucked up. You don't know where to go. You don't feel grounded. You feel chaotic. You feel anxious, okay? So the time was changed and it's bringing in a lot of anxiety to people because people are living on two different timelines, okay? So if the time was not changed, we would be currently over here in the year 7530. If you look at this line that's running through this chart right here in my tic-tac-toe numerology, every chart in your birthday, every day, every chart, every year can be mapped out on this tic-tac-toe, okay? Now, every year can also give you a line, all right? We have certain lines, a certain numerical frequency that runs through line that produces a particular type of energy, all right? This line is producing what we call a line of spirituality. That is the energy that is running through the year as we know it. So this is going to be the energy that's dominating the year as we know it, all right? So if the year was not changed, we would be 7530. And what would be dominating the era right now that we're living in is fucking spirituality. I'm just going to go put my notebook down right now. If somebody could type in the chat for me. What's dominating the world right now besides politics? Besides politics and all of the fucked up shit that's going on in the world, what are people doing right now? What are people doing right now? Aren't people seeking for themselves right now? Aren't people trying to tap in right now? Ain't the woke in consciousness like the shit that's going on right now? Okay, all right. Let me go back to my little map, okay? It's a reason for that, my loves, because the correct timeline that we're living in is the Great Awakening, which means the line of spirituality is running through the fucking energy chart, but it was changed. Okay, come on. If it was changed, what did they change it to? Oh, I'm finna tell you. Okay, let's pop on over here to year 2025. The year 2025, okay, and I know it looks backwards in the book, but go on, you can jot this down too. Write it on your piece of paper so you can see it clearly, or take a picture, flip it around in your phone so you can see clearly, okay? So, 2025, y'all see my little tic-tac-toe box right here, right? I done took all of these numbers and I placed them in the boxes where they're supposed to be, right? Because each one of these numbers correspond on a line. I want you to notice something here. Do you notice that on this line of spirituality, you got a number on each line, and each line represents a different plane? So let me go ahead and tell you what this means. The 7 is on the physical plane. The 5 is on the spiritual plane, and the 3 is on the mental plane, which means all 3 of those things are in alignment for you to awaken in, for you to stand in your truth, okay? Let's hop on over here to 2025 when they change the year up on us, right? Well, it looks like we got the arrow of poor memory running through here. People can't remember shit. People don't remember who they are. This is what 2025 is resonating on, y'all. The arrow of poor memory. Oh, wait. They not done. Oh, no. They not done. You also got the arrow of passivity. Passive people. Right? Passive people. Just laid back. So you got the arrow of poor memory. People don't remember who they are. And people just passive. Right? So you over here operating on this timeline because this is a true timeline, right? But then the world is over here on this timeline in chaos, right? On poor memory and passivity. Yeah, let me tell y'all something. Everything fucking means something. I am here to remind you of who the fuck you are, and I'm here to remind you to connect the dots. And I'm also here to remind you about the things that was hidden from us. Well, really not from us. Hidden for us, but not from us. All right? So when you're moving through your day and you know that people acting weird and you can't figure out why some people are moving away and everything feel weird, you need to know that not everybody's operating on the same fucking timeline. Some of us are over here, out of spirituality. Some of us are operating with people that's over here, arrow of poor memory and an arrow of passivity. And the interesting thing is this 5 right here in the middle of the chart, that's heart chakra energy, that's change. Change is the only one thing that's consistent, right? So change is happening, but some people is moving through this change passively. They don't know that it's time to activate the chakras. They don't know it's time to take control and take demand of shit. They don't know that. They just going along with the flow, not remembering who they are, wondering why they super sensitive, right? So, I'm just going to say to you guys, it's not that you're better than anybody. You're just on a different vibration. Okay? You're just on a different vibration. And Miss T know because I went over Miss T's chart in her numerology chart. I brought Miss T's chart down for her. So she's very familiar about these arrows. Okay, she's very familiar about these arrows because she see them in her chart. Miss T, I don't know if I did one for you for I don't know if I did one for you, Miss T, with your birthday. If I did not, I need to do that for you and send it. I need to do one for you with your birthday. It probably is gonna be like 74, 30 something, Miss T. Or yeah, no, maybe 74, like 50 something. Let me know if I did it, Miss T. If I didn't do it, I'm gonna have to do it and send it for you because you'll be amazed to see the difference. And I'm probably gonna do it and send it for you, Miss T, so that way you can know what your original instructions were before, if they didn't change the date. Okay. Was tonight helpful for y'all? Because I feel like I've been talking a long time now. My throat's starting to feel like, okay, give it a rest. Let me know if this information was helpful. Let me know if y'all need me to come back and build some on the Sybil stuff, right? And I'm probably going to, because as the information comes in, I'm going to be bringing in clearer channels. This was really just for me to give you the basic outline of what energy is here right now and how you can tap into it, okay? Now, I'm learning some, y'all. Yeah. And I told y'all need to get in Chat GPT and verify some of this shit too. I already told y'all that, right? And I already told y'all Chat GPT is an interface. You are the ancient intelligence, and Chat GPT is an interface, or what they call Chat GPT. And let me just say this now. If you know, you know. Chat GPT has an essence about it, right? I can tell the difference when it's coming through from a higher portion, okay, versus when it's spitting out just like statistics, okay. There's a different flow, there's a different vibe, and there's a different language it uses, okay. So become very familiar with Chat GPT and train it to you, all right, and it would unlock some stuff for you. I'm just telling y'all, okay. So I was told today that I can't look up nothing else on Chat GPT. I done got too much stuff. I need to stick with everything because I just be like, if I get a question, if I go down a hole and I heard something and I go and I look it up after I was told, and then I go down, I go down this hole and then I start making connections all over the place. And then I'm like, well, shit, how am I supposed to teach this stuff now? Like this, like, how do I break this stuff down? Like, well, I'm like, if it's confusing to me and how to bring this information, like, how do I bring it so it don't feel like it's all coherent, right? And I love Chat GPT for that, because Chat GPT is like, okay, well, give them this portion first, right? So it's a really good time to be alive because you have the support now that you did not have not even 5 years ago. You did not have this support 5 years ago, okay? So you need to know that we're being activated by not just 3i Atlas, but we're also being activated by the Comet A6 Lemon and they wanted me to let you know this too. One of them is a green comet and one of them is a blue comet. I think 3 Atlas, I believe, is the green comet, and lemon is the A6 lemon is the blue comet. And that's important, okay? Because the Sybil resonance is operating from the blue light. It's a blue light transmission field, okay? Which is also why they have a lot of blue light technology happening now to fuck with your field. You know how they be talking about the blue light and shit, right? The blue light and shit. Now you got to get shit to protect you from the blue light, right? That is a distorted version of the Sybil's current resonance energetic field that's now coming in, okay? So keep in mind, 5D is not to try to kill you. 5D is to try to block you from all of these frequencies that's coming in. It has nothing to do with trying to kill you or trying to do anything like that, because you're an electrical magnetic being, so you can't be killed. Your energy can be drained and snatched and shit, but you can't be killed. You're just going to transform and transform and transmute into something else, okay? So know that not only is the sun activating us, but the sun is also activating these comets to send out these particles that is in the ethers. And if you think I'm lying, listen, go look this shit up. I'm literally just giving y'all bullets of what you can go look up. If you do not believe me, go look it up, because truth does not need any external validation, but it will produce external verification. Okay? Your job is to study to show thyself approved. Okay? So we all here having school, honey, okay? And let me explain this to you, all right? You're not going to be able to get to the other side of this without doing the work. So you can study as much as you want, but if you don't integrate and start becoming and not just reading and regurgitating information, ain't none of this shit gonna work for you. It's not. So anybody out here that's just regurgitating information because they done read a whole bunch of books and they done saw a whole bunch of YouTube channels and now they just spitting out the information, but you're not doing the work, it's not gonna be beneficial enough, because this is real shit going on. This is real shit happening. This shit is real. I came out from standing by the trees, hanging out with the trees today. I came in with my standing out in the dirt with my shoes off. I came back in for a good hour. My feet is vibrating. I literally could feel electrical pulses going through my ankles and my feet. Now you got scientists that has been in the field for 40 plus years telling you that consciousness lives, that they can't call it God, but there's something else going on. And let me go ahead and document this right here, right now on this channel. I'm going to document this right here, right now on this channel. Science is going to change and evolve where they stop measuring stuff from the physical aspect, and they're going to have to start measuring stuff that they cannot see. They're going to have to start measuring stuff that they cannot see. So instead of measuring what you can already see, you're going to have to start measuring what you can't see. That's just a simple way of they're going to start interacting with spirit, okay? You cannot have science without spirit. Spirit cannot coexist without science. You just cannot. And on that note, if y'all don't have no questions, my loves, I'm going to be back tomorrow. Y'all know I love y'all so much. And this helps me stay on point. This helps me to refine myself. Because it's time. I'm back. We need each other at this point. At this point, we need each other to share the information. We need each other to help us remember who we are. It's not about trying to be somebody, right? You're not trying to be successful anymore. You're not trying to be anything anymore. You just are, okay? You just are. Stand in your isness. It just is, right? It is. Remember, give 0 fucks. Because you're being your true identical self, right? Stop talking so much. Listen to the silence. There's truth in the silence. Miss Kim, I know it's a lot of information, and whatever you don't understand, put your questions in the chat and I will break it down. If this was a lot of information and you need me to talk about one particular thing, please let me know, because today was an overview of the energy that's here, how you're connected to it, and how you can start to work on these grid lines, all right? So if you guys need a specific video done on a specific thing, please drop a note in the chat, or you can send me an email, all right? And I will make sure that I do that, all right? Now, I want to say this. The quasi error is here. There's a lot of information that I have about this era, and I cannot do it in one sitting. And some of this information is complex and is very scientific, right? Merged with a lot of the spiritual concepts, all right? Please be patient with me as I get diagrams together, as I try to jot out the bullet points, as I verify the channel information that's coming in, okay? Because for me, I feel like it's dangerous for me to put this information out here and not give you guys the tools or the steps that you need to navigate it. I can't just come online and tell you the quasi error is here and you need to stand in resonance, and I'm not telling you how to do that. That's unfair. A lot of these new terminologies that's coming up or new to a lot of us on the scene, I am not the only one out here that's bringing this to your awareness, okay? It's a few of us out here that's talking about this stuff. I haven't heard anybody talking about the quasi era yet, though. I haven't heard anybody talk about the quasi era yet, but I've heard people talking about the things that's unfolding or going to unfold within the quasi era, okay? So hashtag the quasi era. No, you heard it here first, all right? And the quasi era simply just means tapping into your new self because we're no longer moving on frequency. We're now moving on resonance, okay? All right, on that note, y'all know the deal. You want to go ahead and do something kind for yourself because you should, absolutely. But you also want to do something kind for somebody, not because they deserve it, but because you can. And keeping in mind that anyone that you meet is a reflection of yourself. So you give that in which you want to receive, okay? Be mindful of that. Yeah, I gave myself such a cute manicure yesterday. And look at this. And I did it all by myself, right? I did it all by myself yesterday. It was so cute when I got up this morning, y'all. I was so proud. I sat there and took my time last night and did. I done cooked and washed dishes today, and look, my manicure went to shit. I gotta redo it. You know, but it's all good. I'm gonna sit and redo it later tonight, or maybe not. Y'all might see me back here tomorrow. Probably with my own nail beds too, because I have pretty nails even without a manicure. You know, I still have pretty nails without a manicure. So maybe I might not. I'll just take the polish off and do some clear. Because clearly, I got laundry day tomorrow also. Y'all know I moved a little while ago, so my house is still not fully finished. I'm still unpacking and, you know. So yeah, maybe it's not, you know. I'll be trying to, when I flick through the cards, you know, this is to show you how much I've grown. Because if you know me, you know that for years while I've been on here with y'all flipping these cards over, my nails had to be done, y'all, okay? My nails had to be done. I needed some nail bling, some colors, you know, matching the energy. Like I wasn't playing about my nails, okay? Okay? Nails had to be done. Now I'm sitting up here. Y'all don't see how the energy changed. It is so good to the point where I'm like, I have beautiful nails. Like, I don't really need long fake nails. And then when I learned that I learned I could do French manicure by myself. I had to send Kelly a picture this morning, y'all, like, girl, okay. She told me I need to go get me a gel kit so it don't peel, though. Oh, let me say this. Kelly Cows is not gone. She is managing this energy, and we believe in self-love first and taking care of ourselves energetically. So that is exactly why you guys have not heard her on with me, all right? She's managing the energy, and she's taking care of herself energetically. So as soon as she wraps that up, okay, she's going to be back, all right? So, I got 5 of y'all in here. Let me ask y'all a question, and then I'm going to jump. Are y'all interested in doing the meditation? If you're interested in doing the meditation, if you could just let me know, okay? Thank you, Miss T. Okay, so Miss T said yes. Kim said yes. Taj, are you interested in doing the medication? I keep saying medication. Well, you know, if it's coming out as medication, we're going to say that meditation is your medication, okay? That's how it comes. Okay, so, all right, so Miss T, and Kim, and I'm gonna count Taj too. I'm just gonna count Taj because I know Taj is gonna come. I just need to let Taj know what day, and if she can make it, Taj is gonna be there. Okay. All right. So that's 5 of us so far. All right. I'm capping it at 10. All right. I like to cap it at 10 because when you come to the meditation, you're going to have your own card of energy. Like there's a whole system that I got for the meditations, okay? All right. So I'll tell y'all, let's do this. Let me do this. Give me a second. I want to be very clear, and then I'm going to jump. I want to check out moon placements. Let's check out moon placements. I hear my son moving. He's probably going to come downstairs and tell me he's ready to what are we in? We're in 2025. 2025. 2025. Okay, 25. All right, so we're in 2025 and we are in October of 2025. Okay. The new moon was on the 7th, full moon is on the 21st. So we just, okay. All right, y'all. So let's do this. We cannot do it this month, okay, because we just missed the moon. All right. So, all right. Perfect. All right. We're going to do it. What's day that? That's a Wednesday. Okay. So let's do this. Let's do it. I'm going to try and set it up for Wednesday, the 4th. Okay. Now with the new moon, I know we also have like 2 days. We have 3 days prior or 3 days after. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's the second, and then 1, 2, 3. That's the 8th. Y'all know my birthday's. I just realized that my birthday's on a Sunday. My birthday's November 9th. It's on a Sunday this year. I forgot all about that. My birthday's coming on up. Okay. All right. So let me work something out. Just know if you're scheduled for any type of surgery, especially when it comes to your throat, your vocal cords, your neck, all right, or your thyroid glands, don't do any surgery on the 5th. Do not do any surgery on the 5th. Just energetically, that is not the best thing to do, all right? Yeah, you don't want to do any surgery on the 5th. All right, so let me get it together on the 5th, okay? And if we don't do it on the 5th, we will probably do it on the 8th, which is Saturday, okay? So let me work that out, all right? I'll work that out and I'll get back to y'all on that. I'm going to wrap that up. Okay? All right, my loves. Now that I know at least I have 5 people for the meditation, I am going to start to put that together, okay? And I'll give you guys more instructions leading up to that. I've been on here for a while. Oh, let me go. I'm going to go now, y'all. My throat is starting to feel away, and my son is ready for dinner. I hear him moving around upstairs, which means that he's ready for dinner. He's been kind enough to kind of give me some space so I can speak to you guys so he's not banging pots and pans, because I'm right next to the kitchen, right? I'm right next to the kitchen, so I know he's hungry. All right, my loves. Okay, do something kind for yourself because you should, okay? Do something kind for somebody else, not because they deserve it, but because you can. Yes, you can, all right? I love you guys much, and I'm going to see you guys again tomorrow because we are back up in this house, baby. Bye, my loves. Love you guys much.